Well, let's get
I don't
into
know,
the
maybe
award finalists really quick.
Let's do it.
Because they have been announced, and we have Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, and MVP, ladies and gentlemen. And let's start with the Cy Young Award finalists. For those of you who don't know, each of these categories will name a winner in the American League and in the National League. We have 3 finalists for each category in each league. So Cy Young, we've got Shane Bieber, Kenta Maeda, and Hyun Jin Ryu in the American League for Cy Young. And the National League is Trevor Bauer, Yu Darvish, and Jacob deGrom. Brad, who do you have in the National League winning that competition?
I have Trevor Bauer winning it in the National League.
Why?
Because he was unhittable. He was unhittable for the entire season.
Well, I mean, I didn't disagree with you, okay?
And this is like really the only one I want to elaborate on is I know this is a regular season award, but his single postseason appearance, he didn't give up a run. Like the end of that game was 1-0.
Yeah.
Because neither one of those guys gave up a run. That's just how his season went. It was amazing. Absolutely unreal. Who do you have? You have Bauer in the NL?
Yeah.
Who do you have in the AL?
This one's harder, but I got to give it to Shane Bieber.
Why?
Mostly because his 122 strikeouts and his 1.63 ERA.
Yeah, he seemed unhittable this year too.
Yeah, he was at a 1.63 ERA for sure.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't always available in clutch moments, if I remember right, but at the same time, he was unhittable largely all season long.
Yeah. I do remember that it seemed like every time he went out and pitched, he was setting some kind of new record, either for the American League, MLB, or even just the Indians, because he was lights out all year.
It almost feels moot. Almost.
It kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that there was anybody else they were considering besides Bieber, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I thought Yu Darvish was...
I think that's just a formality.
Yeah, and that's how I felt about Yu Darvish. I think Jacob deGrom is great, and Yu Darvish, when he's on, is really good. But he's not always on,
Yeah.
That's the issue there. Let's move on to Rookie of the Year really quick. Rookie of the Year, I know, you're excited about it. Why don't you tell us who you have for the American League Rookie of the Year? Let me list them first.
Well, so we have...
Oh, yeah. Okay,
so we have Cristian Javier, Luis Robert, and Kyle Lewis. Honestly, I mean, obviously, I have Kyle Lewis. I mean, he won the Sporting News Rookie of the Year already.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably a pretty good indicator of how the Baseball Writers Association of America is going to vote. But Luis Robert, he put together a really good year too.
Yeah.
He hit a few more home runs, which I guess is kind of the standard. But at the same time, Kyle Lewis, I felt like, I don't know, the dude was hitting like 550 for like 3 weeks. So
yeah.
I think you've got to give that start a little bit more weight. And Luis Robert, the thing about him too, though, is that he's got defensive range for days. They talk about in football, they talk about a sideline to sideline defender. The dude is a foul line to foul line defender this year.
Yeah, that's
always
true.
Stealing balls from the left and right fielders. But I'm gonna go with the homerism and choose Kyle Lewis. How about you?
I'm choosing Kyle Lewis as well, mostly because I don't want to make you mad. Who do you have in the National League? We've got Alec Bohm, Jake Cronenworth, and Devin Williams. Do you have an opinion on this one?
Not so much, just because I don't watch a whole lot of National League baseball, because my local team is the National League and I don't get to watch them.
What?
But I'll probably honestly go with, oh my gosh, I don't freaking know. I'll go with Jake Cronenworth.
Okay.
He was on a good team. He was on the Padres. Good left side of the infield with him and Manny Machado.
Machado, yeah.
Oh, I guess. Sorry, it would have been No, it would have been Fernando Tatis Jr., but no, he's part of a really good infield, though. Cronenworth was.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'd probably honestly give it to him. So, solid defense on that team.
That's great, man. I'm going to give it to Williams.
All right. Good. Yeah?
Devin Williams.
Why Williams?
Yeah, 27 innings pitched with a 0.33 ERA. Now, that's a very,
That's
very
pretty
small
good.
sample size, but if he can push that out over a larger group, given the COVID and everything, I think maybe he'll get some love on the diminished capability this year, just because it wasn't his fault necessarily. But that's crazy good. If he can maintain that, that's insane. Yeah. Also, I like it when pitchers win Rookie of the Year. It doesn't happen very often, but I really like it.
It doesn't. Typically, there's a learning curve for pitchers in the show. I like it when a guy can come up and dominate. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's different, and they have significantly fewer opportunities to show what they're worth. Not like these position players, So I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Manager.
Right, we got manager of the year. We got.
Yeah, go ahead.
AL. We've got Kevin Cash, Charlie Montoyo, and Rick Renteria, who actually is out of a job currently.
Yep.
So who you got for manager of the year?
Kevin Cash.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you just because of what the Rays did this year. But honestly, it's almost like the Rays front office deserves executives of the year. I mean, I don't even know who their GM is off the top of my head.
Me neither.
But because they're so, like, the way they're put together and the way they operate, it feels so much like they almost deserve executive of the year before Cash deserves manager of the year. Eric Neander.
Did you just look it up? I was looking
Vice
it up
president
right now.
Yeah. Vice president and GM.
Yeah.
His third season. And I don't know.
Well,
but
last 3 seasons
Cash is out there on the field, so
have been their jam though.
Yes.
That validates your point. Okay.
But I don't know. But give Cash manager of the year because he's out there. He's out there actually making the decisions during the game, getting yelled at by Blake Snell for taking him out too early. So
hopefully he didn't make
give
that
to him just for that reason.
Oh my God! What about the National League?
Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
Don Mattingly, David Ross, and Jayce Tingler. Who you got?
Donnie Baseball.
Donnie Baseball.
No question about it.
And I think for the same reason with both of us. The fact that they weren't supposed to make the playoffs this year, right?
Well, certainly not the Marlins.
Yeah.
They were crazy.
They weren't even supposed to contend.
No, and it was out of nowhere, and they just started barnstorming.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yeah, I think honestly, give it to Don Mattingly.
You have to.
Okay, the big one, Brig. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead with the big one.
Most vulnerable player. Just kidding. Most valuable player. We've got in the American League Jose Abreu, DJ LeMahieu, and Jose Ramirez. Brad. This is tough. Who do you have?
I don't think it is.
You don't think
honestly.
it is? I don't think it is either. Okay.
No, I give it to DJ LeMahieu.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Tell me why.
Well, I mean, he led the league. He led the AL in batting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have his
364.
Yeah, I don't. I'm pulling up his baseball reference right now, trying to filibuster a little bit. Not doing a very good job. But no, like it felt like in the American League, I felt like he carried his team more. He and Luke Voigt carried that team more than anybody did because they say the best ability is availability. And man, LeMahieu was like the only guy. He and Luke Voigt were the only guys on that team who stayed healthy.
It's true.
And let's see.
364 average.
360. Where is it? Why do I have 281? That's weird. That's not right. Is it?
Is it? I have 364.
That's what I thought. 364.
And then I've got a 421
Anyway.
on-base percentage with an OPS of 1.011.
The fact that his OPS was above 1, come on now.
Huge.
That's plenty.
Yeah.
So
Now,
I don't know. I feel like he deserves it. He had a great year. I mean, numbers aside, to me it felt like every other night the guy was doing something that he needed to help his team win.
okay, now that I agree with. Now, if you take the X factor stuff and you take all of the circumstances around it, and if we're not just going to go off paper, then yes, DJ LeMahieu deserves the award for sure. But baseball writers, they don't always vote that way. They like the paper.
It's true.
Which is why I think they're going to give it to Jose Abreu. Now listen, here I'm going to back them up a little bit. We did not see the White Sox being as successful. I mean, some of us were excited about the White Sox, but I don't think we were all seeing the White Sox be as successful as they were. And then when they stopped being successful, it was heartbreaking. Because it was, when they got into the playoffs and lost, it was devastating because they were cooking with gas heat. So here's the line on Jose Abreu if we're looking at it on paper. He led the AL in hits and slugging percentage. So 76 hits, 617 slugging percentage. But 60 RBIs, the most in the league this season. 148 total bases gained, 19 homers behind Luke Voit for number 2. Luke Voit had 22. So he comes in second with 19 homers. If you're telling me that guy with those stats didn't do as much for his team as DJ LeMahieu, you're Craytown. Now, I agree that DJ showed up every day, and you can't, like everything we just talked about. But I do think there's a case for Jose Abreu.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I do feel like ultimately the White Sox I felt like were a little more balanced, which is weird to say.
Yes.
Top to bottom. And so he had some support in the lineup. But and that part of that might have just been health with the Yankees, you know. He played on a consistent team. But if you're going off a guy's strict numbers, then give it to Jose Abreu. But to me, I feel like a guy who can actually do what he needs to do to lift a team, like that. I don't know. I always look at a guy as most valuable. Like if DJ LeMahieu had not been on the Yankees, they may not have made the playoffs.
I 100% agree.
Jose
with that.
Abreu was on a team. I feel like Jose Abreu was on a team that probably would have made the playoffs anyway. Maybe not where they were, but I feel like they would have made the playoffs still. So
I like that. I agree with you. I'd give it to DJ as well.
That's how I view MVP.
Yeah.
To me. So
well, speaking of that, then go to the
Yes,
National League. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Manny Machado.
It's hard. That's really hard. I mean, I'm not going to give it to Manny Machado. I don't feel like he's anywhere near those other two guys.
I agree.
But I got to go Freddie Freeman.
Whoa.
Which is tough because I really like Mookie Betts. I like him a lot. And he may have been like the postseason MVP for the Dodgers because there were games that they would have lost if he hadn't played the defense that he did and then turned around and then also had the offensive contribution that he did. But Freddie Freeman, I mean, he hit 341. He had a 1.102 OPS. Played all 60 games.
Yep.
All 60 games. Led the league with 23 doubles, 51 runs, which I know is dependent on other guys on your team, but he still hit 13 home runs.
He's got 53
and that's
knocks.
after coming back from what he described as a terrible bout with COVID.
Yep.
So
Well, and he had 53 RBIs.
and and the fact that he was the leader on that team that went to the playoffs and played well. They played well. He convinced Nick Markakis to come back and play, who ended up being also, another contributor to that team, that he was doing more than just on the field, which I know that the intangibles don't necessarily go into account for MVP. But I don't know how the Braves would have done without him there. That he felt like the glue who kept that team together and led them to where they got to. What about you?
Yeah, you said everything I was going to say. I'd give it to, I was trying to play devil's advocate there for a minute, but it just wasn't working. Absolutely, Freddie Freeman deserves it. And you're right, Mookie Betts was a formidable force, and he probably will get it. But yeah, no, you cannot say that Freddie Freeman wasn't the most valuable player in the league for the National League. There's no way.
Yeah, and like Mookie Betts again, to me, he was just the thing that took the Dodgers over the top. I think they would have won the World Series this year, 60 games or 162 games. He was the guy who went in there and said, "Okay, guys, this is what we're doing. This is what we need to do to win." Is what I saw out of him. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised or upset if he won it. But I think Freddie Freeman deserves it.
I agree.
That's just me.